Have you ever been in that incredibly awkward situation where a friend comes over and instead of a polite greeting, your dog immediately dives their nose right into your guest's most intimate area? You instantly pull them back, face burning with embarrassment, apologizing profusely for their rude and inappropriate behavior. It feels like a complete failure in training, doesn't it? But what if everything you think about this embarrassing moment is completely wrong? What if by scolding your dog, you are actually punishing them for using a highly sophisticated biological superpower? When your dog does this, they aren't trying to be mischievous or wildly inappropriate. They are actually performing a highly advanced chemical analysis, reading hidden details about age, health, hormones, and even suppressed emotions that our human senses could never detect. So before you feel humiliated next time, you need to understand the fascinating truth behind this weird habit. Let's uncover exactly what your dog is trying to figure out. It is the universal nightmare for dog owners. You welcome a guest into your home, and your dog immediately goes for an aggressive crotch sniff. Our immediate reaction is to project human morals onto our pets, labeling the behavior as rude, intrusive, or simply bad manners. We instinctively scold them, trying to force our human etiquette onto an animal that experiences the world entirely through their nose. But by pulling your dog away in frustration and embarrassment, you might be punishing a completely natural instinct. In this video, we are going to break down the 6 key reasons behind this awkward habit. Based on canine behavior research, scientific studies of a dog's olfactory system, and real-life training experiences, we will decode exactly what your dog is trying to achieve when they do this. So put aside your human embarrassment for a moment, and let's step into the incredibly complex, scent-driven world of your dog. Because the first reason will completely change how you view their powerful nose. Number 1, your apocrine glands are your biological ID card. When your dog greets a guest, why do they always seem to bypass the hands, arms, or legs and aim directly for the crotch area? At first glance, it feels like an intentional invasion of privacy. We immediately assume the dog is being inappropriate, badly behaved, or just plain weird. However, the reality is rooted purely in human biology. Humans have 2 main types of sweat glands: eccrine glands, which are distributed all over the body to cool us down, and apocrine glands. Scientific studies on human anatomy and canine olfaction show that apocrine glands are heavily concentrated in just 2 areas: our armpits and our groin. Unlike regular sweat, the secretions from apocrine glands are loaded with complex pheromones that carry highly specific data about our age, sex, mood, and individual identity. Canine behavior researchers constantly emphasize that a dog's nose is naturally drawn to these heavy chemical signals. So, what your dog is actually doing is reading your guest's most concentrated biological ID card. They are not trying to be offensive. They are simply gathering the maximum amount of identity data available. The best advice here is to stay calm and recognize this as a pure fact-finding mission. Do not project human perversion onto an animal that relies on scent to understand the world. But it is not just about what they smell, it is about exactly how they process that data, thanks to a hidden biological tool inside their mouth. Number 2, the Jacobson's organ, in the supercomputer in their mouth. Have you ever noticed your dog sniff someone's intimate area, suddenly freeze for a second, stare blankly, and maybe even lick their lips or chatter their teeth? To humans, this extra step makes the whole ordeal feel even more creepy and uncomfortable. Many people misunderstand this reaction, thinking the dog is just lingering aggressively. But canine anatomy reveals something truly fascinating. Dogs possess a secondary olfactory system called the vomeronasal organ, commonly known as Jacobson's organ. Located inside the nasal cavity and opening just behind the upper incisors, this organ does something incredible. Studies on canine neurobiology have shown that Jacobson's organ completely bypasses the standard olfactory cortex. Instead, it sends chemical messages directly to the amygdala, the part of the brain that controls deeply rooted instincts, emotions, and mating behaviors. Your dog isn't just smelling the air, they are literally tasting moisture-borne pheromones to decode the deepest levels of chemical communication. They freeze because their brain is downloading massive amounts of biological information. If your dog does this, The best advice is not to yank them away violently. This deep data download only takes a few seconds to complete. If this deep dive into canine biology is helping you understand your dog better, take a second to like this video and subscribe. And stay until the final sign, because it is the crucial step owners miss the most, showing you how to stop this awkward behavior politely without breaking your dog's trust. Number 3, detecting hormonal changes and health conditions. You might notice that your dog doesn't always act this way, but suddenly becomes obsessed with sniffing your or a family member's intimate areas during specific times of the month or year. It feels targeted and intrusive, but they are actually reacting to physiological shifts we cannot even perceive. A wealth of research on medical detection dogs has proven that canines can smell ovulation, the menstrual cycle, early pregnancy, and even specific health anomalies like urinary tract infections. When a human's body undergoes hormonal shifts, the chemical makeup of the pheromones released by the apocrine glands changes drastically. Veterinary behaviorists often note that dogs, being incredibly perceptive pack animals, immediately notice these discrepancies. Your dog is detecting that your internal chemistry has fundamentally changed. It is a sign of deep curiosity and often an instinctual way of checking in on a family member's physical condition. The best advice for owners is to offer patience. Do not get angry or push them away harshly if they are extra sniffy when you are pregnant or experiencing hormonal changes. They simply know you are different today and are trying to understand why. Speaking of changes, they aren't just sniffing for physical health, they are also acting as emotional lie detectors. Number 4, reading suppressed emotional states. Have you ever had a guest come over who is absolutely terrified of dogs, and ironically, your dog zeroes in right on their groin area? It seems like your dog is purposefully bullying the fearful person, trying to intimidate them when they are already vulnerable. But this is not a bullying tactic. It is an investigative defense mechanism. Canine behavioral science confirms that when humans experience intense fear, stress, or anxiety, our bodies involuntarily release a surge of hormones, specifically adrenaline and cortisol, through our sweat glands. Dogs have an astonishing ability to smell these fear chemicals radiating from our skin. When your dog intensely sniffs a nervous guest, they are trying to figure out why this stranger is producing stress hormones. They are asking, are they a threat? Are they scared? Why is their body preparing for a fight? They go to the source of the highest pheromone concentration to assess the situation. However, my advice here is critical. If a guest is scared, do not let your dog investigate them this way. It will terrify the guest even further. As the pack leader, you must step in, recall your dog, and protect the personal space of both your dog and your guest. Yet, even if the guest isn't scared, this invasive sniff is actually meant to be the exact opposite of an attack. Number 5, the most polite greeting in dog culture. Think about how 2 dogs greet each other at the local dog park. They rarely run straight up and stare into each other's faces. Instead, they immediately circle around to sniff each other's rear ends. So why wouldn't they apply this same logic to us? In human society, staring directly into someone's eyes, smiling and shaking hands is the peak of politeness. But for a dog, a direct, hard stare with teeth exposed, a smile, can easily be interpreted as a challenge or a threat. Studies on canine social cognition have shown that avoiding direct eye contact and sniffing the areas with the highest pheromone concentration, the anogenital region, is the ultimate sign of peaceful, non-threatening communication in the animal kingdom. When your dog buries their nose in a guest's crotch, they are literally giving the most polite, friendly, and vulnerable, "Hello, it is very nice to meet you," possible in dog culture. Understanding this cultural difference helps you replace your frustration with grace. You should never feel like your dog is being aggressive when they do this. They are actually trying their best to be a good host. But of course, we still live in a human society, and we cannot let our dogs greet guests this way forever. So how do we fix it? Number 6, how to politely redirect without suppressing instincts. We know the behavior is biologically natural and socially polite in the dog world, but we still need to prevent the extreme embarrassment when guests arrive. How do we stop it without punishing the dog for their natural instincts? Many dog owners instinctively yell, yank the leash forcefully, or even physically smack the dog away. Because the dog genuinely believes they are just saying a polite hello, this harsh human reaction causes massive confusion. Over time, correcting a greeting this way can lead to anxiety, fear, or even leash reactivity because the dog starts to associate the arrival of guests with pain and owner frustration. Modern positive reinforcement training studies emphasize redirection over correction. Your dog needs to gather scent data from the guest. That is non-negotiable for their peace of mind. They just need a socially acceptable place to do it. The best advice is to teach a touch or target command, where your dog learns to press their nose against a human hand. When a guest arrives, ask the guest to present a closed fist, perhaps rubbing a dog treat on their hand first to make it interesting. Guide your dog to sniff the guest's hand thoroughly. Praise your dog enthusiastically for sniffing the hand instead of the groin. By doing this, your dog gets the necessary scent data, your guest stays comfortable and unbothered, and most importantly, your dog's natural instincts are respected and nurtured. Sniffing intimate areas isn't about being rude or inappropriate. It is a profound biological necessity driven by the apocrine glands and Jacobson's organ to gather vital data, detect hormonal shifts, and read emotional states, all while offering the most polite greeting in dog culture. Truly understanding our dogs means letting go of human moral standards and respecting how they experience the world through their incredible sense of smell. True companionship begins when we honor their natural instincts rather than punishing them for simply being dogs. How many times have we unfairly scolded our dogs for trying to say a polite hello, just because of the pressure of human etiquette? If you learned something new about the fascinating way your dog speaks to you, share your stories in the comments. Subscribe for more quiet truths about canine behavior. And if you want to know the everyday habits that secretly make your dog lose trust in you, watch the next video, because some of them look completely harmless,